Hello, it's Mimí Folco from Harvey Mountain Alchemy, and I'm here with a month ahead reading for August of 2021. I have 3 piles down on the table. Before we get to those, I just want to let you know all of the candles that you do see here are available on my website, harveymountainalchemy.com, and I have plenty more unique crystal candles available as well. So all of these candles are one of a kind. They're made to be completely custom and unique. And so they all have varied scents. Some of them are unscented, and they have varied crystals as well. So we're looking at August of 2021. This month astrologically brings a lot of shifting from Leo to Virgo. That's a lot of the energy. And I know we just started Leo season, so the sun is in Leo, but we do have a lot of the personal planets moving into Virgo pretty soon into the month. So it is this need to shine and express the self, but also being very detail oriented, focusing in on what is valuable because it's earth, right? So what is tangible, what is valuable, and being very methodical in what you say, in how you act, in what you value. Those are all very important themes. So I'm going to pan the camera down and you can see which pile you would like, and let's get started. Okay, so these are our piles for the month ahead. Pile 1, we've got this candle, oranges, yellows, golds. Pile 2, we've got this gentle candle, pinks and yellows. And then pile 3, we've got this candle, which is blues. All right. Hello, pile number 1. We've got your candle here. So this one is filled up with a lot of different crystals. We've got pyrite, orange calcite, moonstone, black tourmaline, and then calendula. So this candle I'd say is probably best for somebody who needs that joy and vibrancy and like that essential vitality in their lives, but still having the grounding of that black and white of feeling centered and in the earth, I guess is really what I'm trying to say, but still being able to have this tethered kind of expression of joy and excitement and passion. So we're going to look at your August of 2021. I have a couple of oracle decks I want to use, so I'm going to pull one Moonology card. We've got Be Bold and Make the First Move, a cardinal moon. And so the new and full moon that we'll be having this month they're both going to be in fixed, right? Because it's Leo season, and then we're having our second Aquarius full moon at the end of the month. So you have to be that cardinal energy in the fixed energy of it all. And then let's see this these healing oracle cards. Let's see what you get. Transformation. And one more. And joy. Yes. So you've got 22 and 42. So both very even numbers, right? I mean, obviously they're even, but even in them, right? So 22 is made up of 2 2s and 42 of a 4 and a 2. So there's a lot of even numbers here, which is receptivity. It's more internal. There's a lot of an internal process happening where you are giving yourself the vitality and this life force and this excitement and joy instead of seeking it elsewhere, right? So it's an inner transformation. Okay, so let's get into the cards and see what they have to say. I'm going to start with the Spirit Song deck. Ooh, okay. You've got this Knight of Feathers, so the Knight of Swords, and Awakening, which is Judgment. I mean, this one's beautiful. It's a peacock. So what this is saying, the Knight of Swords and Judgment, I feel like there's this like new force of energy that's telling you to look within, and that you know the answers within you, that I just keep feeling like there's this external source that you seem to be seeking from and like searching for answers outside of yourself. But you have to be bold, right? This cardinal moon is saying, be bold and make the first move. I think that first move is you saying, actually, I know the answers, being confident in yourself, right? Cardinal is an action taker. So being really bold and saying, I don't need to look at anybody else for these answers. I have all of these answers. I know what needs to be done. Knight of Swords is a mental, right? And Knight, he's an action-oriented kind of court. Right, he's a knight, so he likes to take action. He's a go-getter. Yes, he follows the rules of the king, but he's the one who actually creates, like, the, he just does. He's a doer. He's a go-to guy. So it's time to take action in your thoughts and being completely honest with the self and letting yourself be honestly confident. That's a huge theme, I think, for this month in particular, in saying, actually, I can do this all myself. So let's see where this will come up. The Knave of Wands, which is the Page of Wands. The Magician. And the Five of Wands. Yeah, I almost feel like where you used to be really collaborative and where you used to work with a lot of people, or, you know, maybe in social groups that you were socially in a very large friend group, and suddenly you've been put on your own and put, maybe, not cast aside, but just there was a decision that was made where you decided that you could grow and develop even more outside of it. There's still development going on in the group, most likely, but there's like this need to also do some self-exploration. And instead of seeking externally from those friends or those colleagues or, you know, your parents, so just these external people who tell you what, you know, who basically make decisions for you. It tells you what you want to hear because then you don't have to make that decision. I feel like this is like a mutable sign that is less likely to make a decision because they're very adaptable. So that would be Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces. So where you once were kind of reliant on everybody else's opinions, you're now being put out into the world. The Page of Wands here, she's going to go take action. There's this new exciting, right? It's fire, so it's inspirational, it's exciting, it's an adventure, but she's a page, she's inexperienced. So there's this element of not really knowing what your next action is. But if you just were to look within, the Magician is saying it is all within you. You have all of the tools you need to carry forward with this awakening moment. It can be hard to have this judgment moment, right? Like some people, we don't like to look at ourselves sometimes. We don't like to acknowledge that there is ugliness or pain to look at or trauma to you know, reassess. And we've got Venus in Virgo. So the best way to take care of yourself right now is to analyze and to kind of logically look at what you value and what in your relationships, what makes you valuable, what you value in relationships. So this is really saying there's a shift from all of this like collaborative or maybe confrontational energy, and now into releasing all of that and saying, actually, I'm going to do this on my own while I can. And then you can always go back to that when you feel strong enough that you don't need them, then you decide that you choose them. You decide they are still valuable to you. All right, so let's see what else comes up. We've got the Six of Swords, the Empress, and the Ten of Swords. So I'll show you these cards. Six of Swords, the Empress, and the Ten of Swords. So there's definitely like where before you were sitting in all of it. You're sitting in all of it and you almost made yourself sit in it because you were like, this is the experience that I'm supposed to have right now. It was almost a punishment, right? So you were sort of punishing yourself and saying, I need to sit in this mental space. And generally with swords, there definitely are positive meanings for them. But a lot of the time, because we're humans and we have a really high mental capacity for like spiraling and anxiety, right? We're an anxious species. So to live in this mental space, and she's also underwater, so it's almost overwhelming. She's living in a mental space, but it's still emotional. And so by deciding to nurture yourself and give yourself the love, you can decide to no longer be in that space and to release it. The Ten of Swords is the acupuncture card. And acupuncture, yes, while it could be scary that there are a bunch of needles sticking inside of you, it's also releasing the energy that needs somewhere to go. It needs an outlet. So for this month especially, I'd say find an outlet for your nervous energy. What was it that I heard? That anxiety is excitement without expression. I think that's what I heard very recently. So yeah, releasing this anxious energy, and instead of seeing it as anxiety and as, you know, a mental illness, which obviously it is, but we can turn it and transform it, right? We've got transformation in this healing card, and it's a number 22. 22, it's got two twos, obviously, and it's twos relate to the relationship aspect and finding balance, finding harmony. And then it comes to a 4, which is the builder. It's creating a solid foundation so that you can build on top of it your future. And especially with Jupiter in Aquarius, which is saying we need to expand on the progress that we need to make for the future. So transforming this anxious energy into an excitement energy and into this passion. And instead of being afraid of the new ventures, the new adventures, the excitement here, to be really amped up for it, right? Hype yourself up that you get to have this new experience, that you get to have different inspirations that maybe you're not used to before, but going forward, you get to have these new experiences and opening the mind of what your future could really look like, and to find joy in it all, right? You've got joy here. We have to find joy in it all. And joy is 42, so we have that 4-2 element again, of finding balance in your relationships, but also being able to set up a structure for yourself that you feel secure in. So the relationships could be with others, but it also within this reading, it feels like a lot about the relationship with the self and finding solidity and structure and stability with being honest with the self, which is that Judgment card. Judgment is all about self-honesty. It's about seeing the good, but also seeing the bad and not judging yourself for the bad. Acknowledging it's there, knowing what you can do to change it, and then changing it. Okay, so let's pick one Muse card. Oh, well, 2 just wanted to come out. So we've got this Knight of Inspiration, and we've got the 4 of Cups. I almost feel like there's too much emotion involved here, and you would rather... yeah, you'd rather just go ahead and like, let's go do the fun stuff instead. You've got quite a few court cards here. Let's go do the fun stuff instead because I'm bored with all this emotion. I've sat with it for so long. I think that's fair sometimes. I think you're able to say like, okay, well, now's the time to step away. But I also think that it might be important for you to reassess those emotions, right? I think whenever, maybe if this came up in July, you've got, it was, Mars in Leo and Venus in Leo. It was all this very passionate, excited, fiery energy. And now we're going into Virgo, which is this much more assessing, logical, analytical, detail-oriented, very focused energy. So honing in on maybe not all of the emotions, the big range, but honing in on the important ones and going into the source and being able to say, I can be honest with myself with this. And then allow this fun and joy to come through, because this Knight of Inspiration, this Knight of Wands, he is excited. He is the warrior. He is the doer of the nights, right? He's action oriented. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you. August seems like a much more internal month for you, where yes, there's a lot of external circumstances that we could point to and, you know, kind of maybe like point the finger at a little bit. But remember that anything that's happening outside of you is just a reflection of what's going on within as well. So being honest with the self is very important. I mean, that's so true for everybody, right? But know that you do have it in you to do everything that you need, right? You're not this page. Although you may feel, and maybe that you are in this physical world, you are a page, you are inexperienced, you maybe don't have the knowledge of what to do next, but inside you have this magician within you. So you do know what to do. You can do this on your own. You're going to do great. All right. Have a great month. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. I have your candle here. There's only one crystal on it, rose quartz, but it's mostly the flowers. So we've got chamomile and red plum flower. and it's also scented. So this one has a lavender scent to it. So this candle is very gentle, right? Like it's not even got that much energy of crystals. We've got the gentle rose quartz that's really very kind to the self. It's about love. It's about compassion. So this feels like you almost need to have a rest this month. This August needs to be a calming time for you. There's been a lot of stimulation maybe, or maybe there hasn't been, and we need to continue that. August is a 4 month, so numerologically this month, and this is universal, so depending on what your actual birthday is, it could be different, but universally what we're dealing with in August is sorting through and sifting through, right? So building a solid foundation that we can build a solid structure on top of. That's why in August, there's a lot of, we got to get our back to school supplies, right? Like we got to start planning for the school. So 4 is a big planning energy. It is very Taurian in many ways, but sometimes it's also Virgo. We have to look at the details of how do we actually build something. You know, we need an architect who can tell us the actual details and plans and designs. We're going to pick a Moonology card for the month. Interesting. So you've got the void of course moon, which means nothing will come of this situation. So I almost feel like August for you is a very slow month. It's not a time to start a lot of big projects. A void of course moon, not every astrologer implements that into their interpretations, but traditionally a void of course moon is when the moon isn't making any aspects to anything else. So it's this it's like the moon isn't helping anything. So in this case, could be that your emotions maybe aren't going to lead to anything. So maybe no emotional ventures this month. I'd say this month is just from the candle that you chose in this Moonology card, it's a big one for rest, relaxation, and enjoy the silence while you have it. That seems to be coming through pretty strongly. So I'm going to pick one of these healing oracle cards as well. See what comes through. You've got forgiveness. Okay. That's so interesting. So nothing will come of the situation and then forgiveness. So I'm not sure if this is forgiveness of the self. I'm actually getting that it's more forgiveness of the circumstances, not forgiveness of any human, but forgiveness of, you know, forgiving an event that happened. So it's less about who did it and more about what was done, forgiving that action, because, and perhaps rather than feeling resentful of it, just saying like, thank you, because this situation has given me the opportunity of living this life today where I have what I have now. Basically saying, if this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have what I have now. A lot of the times, you know, when people ask like, what's your biggest regret? Unless you did something really bad, I would say none, because everything that has happened up until now has led me to this very moment where I am very grateful for the opportunities that I'm being given. And so that's not just for me, that's for everybody, to be really grateful for even the pain and hardships, not grateful for them, but understanding that they had to happen for me to grow and develop as a human being and land where I am now. So let's look at August. What are we dealing with in August? Okay, Justice, the Moon, and 5 of Feathers, which is the 5 of Swords. Okay, so we've got Justice and the Moon, which says that there needs to be some sort of clarity or clarification on the emotion side of what you're experiencing right now. 11 and 18, so that's a 2 and a 9. Yeah, both of those are very feeling oriented. They're both feeling, so 2 is this relationship, dealing with finding balance and harmony, and not just romantic relationships, but relationship between two people. There's just an extra energy there. So, you know, 1 + 1 = 2. 2 is this whole extra number, unless unless somebody gets swallowed up in a relationship. There are two totally separate entities coming together. And then the moon, so we're dealing with cycles and patterns, our emotional habits. And this one in particular, he's got his eyes just staring right at you. So staring your emotions right in the face, maybe is what you need in order to find mental clarity. And then we've got the Five of Feathers. So the Five of Swords, being open to changing the way that you strategize, changing the way that you perceive situations. Justice is quite black and white. So it sees things as right or wrong, and there's no space in the middle for allowances. And so this Five of Swords is saying maybe you need to shift the way that you did view this experience, maybe because emotions were in the way, they were clouded, right? Moon is ruled by Pisces, so it's this, it's Neptunian. We've got this like fog and this haze, and maybe it's just not so clear because it lives in that ether state. But what else lives in that ether state is creativity and spirituality and connection to the universe and all that is. As well as escapism. And escapism can be bad, right? That rules addiction, but it also rules artistry. You know, all artists, or most artists, create art to escape from their reality in some way, or to express their reality in their own views, how they view reality. So these are all things for you to reflect upon. I think there isn't very much action to take here this month because nothing, right? We've got that void, of course, moon. So it's really this mental space, because this Five of Swords is your mental space. And then we've got Justice, which is also swords. So that's also mental. And then the moon, which is emotional. I feel like that's really inner reflection. The moon comes out at night, when not everything is awake, there's not as much action, right? It's not warm from the sun. It's this nocturnal energy, so it's this receptive, internalized energy. All right, let's see. Let's see where this is going to come up. Ooh, no. Okay. Wow, okay. So we've got the Knight of Voices, the Chariot, and then we've got Death. So I do think that there's something that needs to die off. There's like this pattern that needs to die off so that you can really move forward. I do feel like this is a very spiritual, like spiritual awakening almost, or just like a very spiritual forward experience for this month of what your soul needs to do this month in order to continue developing and growing and evolving. The Knight of Voices is the Knight of Swords. So again, it's that mental space. So sitting in your thoughts and your perceptions, in your ideas, right? This could be a great month for making, just for being inspired, right? Not making plans. That's too earthy. That's too, yeah, that's too much. That's too concrete. And right now we don't need anything concrete because we have this void, of course, moon, which really, usually I wouldn't pay too much attention to, but this time around, it's like really nothing will come of this situation. So it is about this rest, relaxation, especially with this candle. It's such a chill candle and chill vibes up here with the oracle cards that this really is very internal. But the Knight is an action person, so there is a need for some form of action this month for you, and it is in the mental space. So almost like breakthroughs in therapy, I could really see that, and these breakthroughs could lead to really allowing what's going on in your belly, like this gut feeling, to really spill out in a way that isn't uncontrollable, right? In a way that we feel in control, but we don't feel like we are trying to control it. So if you're in therapy, I do feel like there will be some breakthroughs, some release of the old, because we've got Death here, which is saying, you know, it's transformational. It's getting rid of what is no longer serving you. Yeah, but I'm almost getting this, like, what is like almost dead inside of you. Like there's this lack of will and excitement. And so being able to discover these breakthroughs or these Emotional, yes, because the moon, but also really like mental spirals that are going on is really gonna help you like transcend these experiences and turn what has happened to you into opportunities. It's that idea of the forgiveness card again. This one here. Of forgiving what has happened to you so that you can move forward and to grow forward. Really important. Okay, so I'm going to pick a couple more from the Everyday Witch. Okay. We've got the Ace of Pentacles. And the Five of Wands. Okay, so I really do feel like there's this, you're telling me to rest and heal and like just this rest and slow down, and I don't think that anything good can come of that. Like I don't feel like that's valuable. And so the first lesson in that is seeing its value. So I'd almost say like take a self-care day, take a, you know, whatever you need to do to make yourself feel worthy and valuable. That's what you need to do. And then notice how your body shifts. Notice how your mental patterns shift just by giving yourself the love that you do deserve and the compassion that you do deserve. Especially this candle. This is such a self-love and self-restoration candle. So really giving this the time to giving yourself the time to sit in your worthy space. That's what I'm going to call it, is I am worthy. And you need to create a little bubble for yourself and say, I am worthy of having growth. I am worthy of better situations than have happened to me in the past. However, I'm grateful they did, because now I've become a more well-rounded, understanding, compassionate human being. And then this Five of Wands, I really just think it's time to, it's like, I really feel like you need to go into like this hermit phase of, I don't need to deal with anybody else's things because I have my own things. And I feel like there's this element of saying like, I'm always taking care or putting out fires for everybody else, but what about my fires, you know? So put out your own fires, focus on your own fires. And fires could be scary, like there is a fire going on, or it could be your inspirations, your excitements, right? There was an element of writing down your inspirations. Create art just to create it, not for anything else. Remember that it almost takes the pressure off of doing anything if nothing will come of this situation. It's like, all right, well, nothing's going to come of it. So why am I doing it? Do it for you. That's why you're doing it. Okay, pile 2. I hope that was helpful for you. I really hope that you can take some time to sit back and sit in your worthy space. That's what I'm going to call it. So thanks. See you next time. Bye. Hello, pile 3. We have your candle here with aquamarine, selenite, and then forget-me-not flowers. This is a very sweet flower, or sorry, sweet candle. I mean, I do love forget-me-nots. I have one tattooed on my wrist there. But what I love about this is that there's like this, there's order in the chaos of it, right? These selenite crystals are everywhere. So everything is being charged. Everything is being cleansed for you. You know, put them where they need to be put and trust that you will be charged up. That energy will be charged up. It is gentle. It's blue. And there's a lot going on with like this throat chakra with this blue, of having to communicate yourself, having to vocalize. And this one actually also has glitter, which the other two do not. So this needing to vocalize and putting your own little spin on things. I almost feel like, yeah, why don't you sing a little bit? Like, just even if you don't think you're very good at it, just letting yourself sing because it feels good for you, right? So that could block the throat chakra, this, especially if you do think you're a bad singer. Instead of having the like judgment on myself for being a bad singer, just singing for the joy of singing. Okay, so we're going to pick a Moonology card for this month, for August, pile 3. Okay, well, 2 kind of are speaking to me. We have got full moon in Virgo, you are good enough. And supermoon, emotions are running high. So I mean, there's not much that needs to be interpreted here. I can really feel this sense of having to battle for your own worthiness, having to battle to say, I am valuable. Why aren't you seeing me as I am? especially because Virgo, that's earth, being tangibly, being, you know, what you see is what you get. What I think with Taurus energy is like, you know, they can tend to be like very stoic. Anybody who has Taurus in their top 3, typically Taurus rising especially, they can be very like quiet, but not hiding anything. They're just this energy of like what you see is what you get. That's me. I'm Taurus. Not me, but so that is those are your Moonology. And then let's pick this oracle. Unlimited possibilities. Okay, so once you can finally acknowledge that you are good enough, the possibilities are endless here. I think the only thing limiting you here is your own view of yourself here. But yeah, like, what do you not feel like you're good at? I'm not going to ask you, I'm going to ask the cards. So what are we not good at? Supposedly, allegedly. Okay, so we've got the Hierophant, the 3 of Wands, and this 10 of Wands. So originally the Hierophant jumped out, so that's kind of the main one here. So what do we feel like we're not good enough at? I think, yeah, maybe this idea of I don't know enough, right? The Hierophant is the teacher, but also the student. So I am not good enough at knowing everything that I'm expected to know. And with the Hierophant here especially, you are being led, and it's okay to be led. So almost like, oh, this feeling of, how can I be good enough if I'm still looking to my teachers for everything? Because your teachers have another perspective. And having been a student and having been a teacher, I can acknowledge, and having been raised by a teacher too, I can acknowledge that a teacher doesn't know everything either. And a lot of the times, especially with these esoteric things like astrology and tarot, a lot of the times the teacher is learning from the student's perspective too. Because sometimes you get so stuck in your own views or your own, you know, keywords or your own thoughts of what something means, that then a student comes in and breaks everything that you were settled in. So yeah, almost looking at like everybody else knows what's going on and everybody else has their shit together and I don't have my things together. Like that's not the best perspective for you to have, because there's definitely somebody out there who does think you have your stuff together. There's somebody out there who thinks you have this Virgo energy of being very organized, well put together, detail oriented, very focused. You know, you have all of your ducks in a row, supposedly, allegedly, to them. So there is somebody out there that feels about you the way you feel about, you know, everybody else. And also, not so many people are focused on how you're doing, right? Everybody in kind of typically, everybody's really concerned about themselves and how they look. So then, you know, we just end up all walking around with our insecurities, and that is not the best way to progress moving forward. Not sitting with your insecurities, not projecting your worries and your emotions, right? Because emotions are running high this month. Not projecting that outwards. So, right, so that was the Hierophant. And then we've got the 3 of Wands and the 10 of Wands. What we feel like maybe we're not so good at, maybe we don't feel like we're that good at following through. So there's this notion that I don't feel like I know enough, and then I don't feel like I can even, if I did know enough, I can even do anything with it. I think there's this lack of motivation that's sitting inside, and where once there was a lot of motivation, because emotions are running high, and I feel like those emotions are running high because there was once a time where you felt charged up and energized, right? Excuse me. Charged up and energized, like these selenite chips are charging everything in the candle. There was a time where you did feel good enough, and then you're just kind of hitting this slump now where you don't feel good enough anymore. Knowing that that will pass, it always passes, just like these sun rays did. So knowing that that will pass and that your magic will come back, like the sun rays. That was great. So yeah, the magic will always come back, this 3 of Wands. All you have to do is trust that it will. Your knowledge will come back. And also, you know, this element of jealousy, like, well, they know so much and I don't know that much. Excuse me, I just kicked the camera. They know so much, comparing yourself to somebody else. That is not the best way for you to step into your own power, because you have so much knowledge on other things. You bring your unique expression of the universe into the world. You know, we're all put here to express ourselves. I mean, that's how I feel. I'm a Leo rising, so that's just how I feel. So that's where we're feeling like we're not good enough. I'm gonna see how we can deal with that for August. Okay, here we go. Accept happiness. Wow, I just heard that really strong. Yes, accept happiness and accept success. There's this fear of succeeding too early and like peaking too early. And know that you can peak multiple times. You can peak for the rest of your life. It's not about winning right now. It's about finding joy wherever you are. So we've got this Chariot. I don't know if I said these cards out loud. I don't think I did. I just started rambling. So we've got the Chariot. The Chariot is a goer. It's a doer. We've got action that's being taken, and it's a 7. So it's your personal path. You know, you're driving your own car in your own personal journey. And then we've got this 10 of Cups and this 5 of Swords. So yeah, I mean, accepting happiness. The first step is saying, I am good enough and I am worthy of happiness. I am worthy of success. I am worthy of love. And then we've got this 5 of Swords, which was just reiterated that I am worthy of success. I am already winning, even if I'm not on a pedestal. The 5 of Swords is the number of, or is the card of changing your mind. So this could just be, I am changing my perspective or my perception of what winning even means. What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve this month that has to be achieved this month? Especially right now, or not right now, but I feel like society and especially social media has made us feel like we have to be putting out everything right now, all the time. Like there's always content that needs to be put out. And it's hard to be a content creator while still being authentic and speaking from the soul. Because you are, you know, subliminally told that you have to, and sometimes not subliminally, but you're told to be pushing content out all the time. And yeah, just that you have to be always in front of everybody. So changing the perception, changing the idea of what winning even means to you. That's what really matters here. All right, we're going to pick a couple more cards. Strength and the Tower. Yeah. So finding strength in the moments where everything seems to be falling down on you. Finding strength in even possibly being the Tower, right? Being the disruptive energy and saying, this does not work. The Tower is this big structure, and then, but the actual card is the lightning bolt that's taking the structure down because it doesn't serve us anymore. So finding strength in not needing all of the extra things and instead just being content with your own pillar of self, of who you are, the strength within you. That is a very strong message of you don't need everything around you. You don't need the success, the wins, the like social media idea of what happiness is, unless or until you find it within yourself without having to show it to everybody else. You are good enough. You are worthy of that happiness and that joy, but also acknowledging that that joy is not 100% of life. Life is a balance of good and bad. Life is difficult. Life is the Tower. Life gives us circumstances that force us to be strong. So this month especially, it's like this, it's a constant test to say, I am smart enough. I do know enough. I do know how to follow through. I do deserve joy. I deserve love. I deserve success. And these Tower moments are not going to ruin me. That's what really matters. So have a good month. I hope that was helpful, and I will see you next time.